tendency is to do the feet, knees, face
Yep.
kind of landing,
Yep.
so that's what I'm trying to
We
work
can
away
fix
from.
that. We can fix that because the feet, knees, face sometimes is that you still have residual descent rate and your feet just sort of crumple underneath you and then you go down onto your knees and
Right.
continue on. Sometimes it's that you simply didn't nudge the end of your first motion, that you were just too gentle through the whole process and you didn't really level off, and you're going to get what you caused. You know what I mean? There's no guilt, there's no shame. It's just that's what you did. If you do a slow motion, it's not a flare, it's a braking maneuver, right? And you have to catch up to it. You got to speed up. That's that point at which the parachute levels off. They call the sweet spot sometimes. That sweet spot is not a guarantee. It's not a location relative to your body. It is an angle of attack and airspeed combo, a synergy of the two, where you increase the angle of attack in a very short time frame at the same airspeed context, and now you get your extra lift. So recognizing that, okay, I'm now 3 or 4 feet off the ground and I want to stop this descent rate. I've already shallowed things out and slowed down, but I'm still sinking. I go, no, that little quickening. And if I overdo it, I can fix that too. But I can't fix anything if I'm tumbling through the grass. It's over now. So be ready to sort of quicken it. And if you overdo it in terms of the distance that you push sharply, then you can lightly, briefly come off of those toggles just for a moment. And don't even think of it as I'm lifting my hands after the flare. That's too much. Just reduce the downward pressure for just a moment to keep it from climbing and then maintain your level flight. Practice that up high a lot, where you deliberately over flare and you get too heavy, and you can feel it starting to climb on you. Just don't let it climb. Instead of this, you just do that and you keep those hands moving. But what seems to cause the most face planting is partly due to that stuff, that they never stopped their descent rate prior to putting their foot on the ground. And the other one is that they often will begin the flare process, level off, but then stop just a little too long before continuing. So if I flare and stop where I achieve level flight, I'll feel the load up, right? I'll get heavy in that moment of changing direction of flight. The inertia is talking to me, right? It's telling me that I changed direction. But if I stop, the parachute's going to slow down. And as it slows down, it loses drag. And as it loses drag, it's going to drift towards negative on the pitch axis. This flare configuration where your parachute's behind you when you're in level flight is a brief thing. It's contextual based on this airspeed. That amount of angle of attack is going to get you the level flight. But if you slow down a second later, the canopy creeps forward towards negative, the lines get slack. And then when you push the end of the flare, you've lost line tension. You've lost the pitch angle. So it's level off and then continue moving those hands slowly down, never stopping. Either it's the on-off, that's still movement, it's just an adaptation if you've overdone it. But once you feel like you're settled into level flight, keep the hands moving throughout the process. And when you get to the bottom end, you make an appraisal. If my foot is brushing across the grass, I'm at 0 altitude, I'm going to continue pushing those hands down all the way till I run out of ground speed. If I am above the ground, I'm going to push the end of the flare with a little and that's the little tiger move is going to really put on the brakes, if you will, and help shut down the ground speed. Right? So you have to be awake and aware and like, how high am I? And at the end of my flare, if I can't touch the ground from here, I'm going to have to push the flare with a little aggression at the end. That's part of it. The third piece here with the no-win landing faceplant thing, because you didn't invent it, you don't have to feel like this is personal. It's so common, is that people will land on both feet at the same time with 1 foot here, 1 foot here. They stomp on the ground, the feet come to a stop, the body keeps moving forward due to the, the momentum, and boom, the next point of contact is the end of your nose. And what I would recommend is if you've got ground speed as you're, leveling off, you're cruising across the ground at the end of this process, line up your feet, one in front of the other. The first point of contact is the foot that's right under your coccyx bone where you can't see. Heel first. And then you're stepping into this other foot that was sort of laying in wait. It's not doing anything yet as you touch the ground. You're landing on one foot at a time when you've got ground speed. The only time you can set down on both feet at the same time is PLFing, right? That would be double feet. Or I have enough wind to zero out my ground speed, and then you can do whatever you want. It's going to be a pretty good landing. So if you got that ground speed, line up your feet, chest forward, elbows back, not flaring in front of you, because flaring in front of you will cause your upper body to lean back, cause your feet to go in front of you, and you're out of balance. You're not ready to run. Wrong attitude, on the pitch axis. So lean forward into that loosened chest wrap, flaring down towards the back at the end. And then you can be forward. Last piece on that one, as you line up your feet and your elbows are back and you're pushing towards your butt cheeks in the final push, scoot the chair back, right? I got wheels on my chair, right? So as I get to the end of it, I'm pushing the chair back with my butt, and that's going to help to line me up. My forward lean isn't just what my arms do, because if I get up like this, you know what I mean, where my hips come forward, and in order to try to get my pelvis over my feet, my upper body tends to go the wrong way. So by scooting the chair back with your butt, actually tilting your sit bones up to the sky like a downward dog, now you're really in balance, and it's very easy to go straight into a run. Your body's prepped for it. And that's, I call that footwork, body position stuff. You can run out a really fast landing using that technique. It's just if it's really fast, you got to have a lot of distance between those first two footprints, right? If you put the feet together, boom, boom, there's no opportunity to take that third step. So think about almost leaping off of your first footprint, straight forward, in line, like you're landing on a slack line.
I love my job.